Hey, my name is Jonathan Helm, and in this video, I'm going to talk about objects in R. So in the last video, we talked about R just being a calculator, right? We can do very simple manipulations like 1 plus 2 or 2 times 4. And when we perform those, we get the correct answer back because R is just a calculator. Okay, now as we start to build into, performing a statistical analysis, I want to try to emphasize that we differentiate between two things. We have objects and we have functions within R, right? We have objects and we have functions. Objects are numbers or vectors or pieces of data that we want to manipulate, and functions are the code that we use to manipulate those objects. Okay, so objects could be a variable in a data set. It could be the output from some type of analysis, right? And when we have that information, we can use other functions inside of R to manipulate that to give us some new analysis or some new answer. Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to talk about objects and what those are. Now, before we begin, we want to emphasize that we can write comments in our editor. This is something that's a little beneficial, right? So if I use the hashtag or the number sign, I can write out a comment. Okay, so then if I write out like 1 plus 2 below that, and if I highlight this whole part of code, right, and I run that, you can see that the whole thing gets copy and pasted into the console, but R is going to ignore the lines that begin with a comment or begin with that hashtag. So R will say, yeah, I'll run that, I'm going to throw it in there, but I'm not going to do anything with it, I'm just going to print it back to you. And then whatever's below it, I'll copy and paste that into the console for you, and I'll run that part. Okay. This is really beneficial for us writing comments because when we open our syntax in the future, we want to try to remember what we were doing. Right? You'd be surprised how easy it is to forget what we did even just the day before. So write as many comments as you possibly can. Okay, more comments are always better. They're always helpful. Okay, so write out comments. Now, in R, I can assign numbers to objects. Right? I can create objects. So let's say, just for fun, I have A, and I write the equal sign, and then I write the number 5. Okay. So if I highlight that code and I do command return, okay, R actually runs that code for us, but returns nothing back. So R is saying, okay, I've taken the number 5 and I've assigned that to the object A. Okay, we'll get nothing back. What I can do is I can type the letter A again, I can highlight, and I can run that, and boom, what do I get back? It's 5. So R believes that the lowercase letter A is a 5. Okay, so I've created an object called A, and A is equal to 5, right? It's now an object that's inside of R. I can perform other manipulations on this. I can do A plus 2, right? So if I highlight and run that, A plus 2 is equal to 7. And of course, this makes sense to us because A is equal to 5. So if I take 5 and I add on 2, then I'm going to get back a 7. Okay. We can create more objects. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to say B is another object, and that's equal to 4. I'm going to highlight this part of the code. I'm going to hit Command-Enter to run that. Okay, B is now equal to 4. If I go down here, right, I have A plus 2. I can do A plus B. And if I highlight and run that, I get back 9, right? A is equal to 5, B is equal to 4, A plus B is equal to 9. Okay, so R allows us to create objects, right? We can assign numbers to these objects, right? And we can add them together, we can print them back, right? But when we're doing these statistical analyses, often what will happen is we'll have an object on the left-hand side, like A, and on the right-hand side will be a t-test, a regression, a structural equation model, a multi-level model. And all of the output from that analysis will get stored in an object. Okay? And these are things that we can manipulate. And in the next video, we'll talk a little bit about functions and how we can use functions to manipulate objects. Okay. If you enjoyed this YouTube video, please click like on the link below. I really appreciate any likes that you can share. If you didn't like the video, feel free to leave a comment or feel free to email me directly at jonathanleehelm@gmail.com. Please, please, please subscribe. I really appreciate it if you can subscribe. And thank you very much for watching this video.